Hi, everyone. Now that you had a chance to look at assignment two, which was basically programming one review problem, I want to take an opportunity to go through a couple videos with you to review it. For those of you who feel like you've nailed it, great. For those of you that feel like you may have struggled, hopefully this review will determine where you are in regards to your understanding of the content from programming one. Once again, if you feel you're not comfortable with the content, you may struggle in this course moving forward starting next week. So it's important that we have a good gauge on where you are right now. And my hope is that this review, even though you may have struggled, will help you with your understanding and may have seen where you've gone wrong. And we can move forward from there. Okay? Anyway, with that said, we did assignment two here. And assignment two was to create VB landscape supplies. The application will allow a person to order mulch. That is our goal here. Okay? And so in doing so, we got some inputs. Our inputs are going to be name, zip code, mulch type, number of bags, and the delivery option. With that said, I gave you some validation requirements that there's required. The zip code is required for any order and can only be 41042 and the other two zip codes based upon if it's going to be delivered or not. We have different mulch types that I wanted you to really kind of put in a combo box, just like this. I know that kind of was tricky in a way, once it's supposed to be, but it could be tricky in a way. Number of bags that you can order, greater than 0 or less than 51, and a delivery option. Either you're going to pick it up or it's going to be delivered. Okay, so the process is the customer will complete the form. The customer will add multiple types of mulch. So you can order 5 bags of this, 6 bags of that, 7 bags of this. And when you're done, you basically hit a total button that will add it all up for you. Okay, the total would be for total for all the bags, the 7% for tax, and delivery based upon the different delivery locations. I provided you some screenshots. Now, with that said, I expect this screen to look like this, not all spread out with a bunch of space on there. You're writing this for a user. Make it professional. Make sure it looks like this. I gave you pretty much how I wanted this done. So if you did it an alternate way, I'm not sure why. Follow the instructions, follow the requirements, okay? Everybody should, at this point in time, be comfortable with a group box. I like using group boxes, and of course, here's the list box. In this case, we had an add button, a total button, a clear button, and an exit button. How this whole thing should work is basically you put your name and your zip code in, the type of mulch you want, and if it's going to be delivered or not delivered, okay? You would press the add button, and it will show up over here with the mulch type, bags, and total. As you keep adding another one, you can do that also with as I add 20 bags of red chips and 10 bags of black chips. And then finally, when I'm done, I can hit my total button that will say what's my total for all my bags, my tax, and my delivery with my grand total. Does that make sense? So that's pretty much what we're trying to accomplish here. This problem is really nothing more than what you have done in programming one in regards to accumulation as you go on. We're doing it kind of a different way, but we're less accumulating and we're actually creating dynamic output over here in the list box. That's what I kind of like about it. But it's really nothing more than what you've already done. So hopefully you didn't make it any harder than that. Okay? So what's the first steps in actually doing something like this? Well, I hope you're not saying dive into the program. If you did, more likely you struggled. What you need to do is design the program out. What it is that we're going to be doing. What's the steps we're going to be doing. Based upon who and whom you took for in programming one, in my case, we would sit back and we would actually do a structure chart because we're going to do this as a modularized type of program, right? We're going to break it down into modules. If you noticed on this, there's 2 distinct pieces here. There's an add button and there's a total button. For each of those, okay, that has some content to it, or some logic to it, you want to write a different structure chart for each one. So for the add button, my structure chart is going to look similar to this, where I would sit back and have add mulch. On that, my add mulch routine, which would be my submit, will call get and validate input, which will validate the zip code, the mulch type, and the number of bags. Probably could have, I think I also have over here, yeah, validate name. I kind of lost that. Validate name also, okay? Once that's complete, it's going to call calculate product subtotal, because basically what we're going to do is just basically now, add in the number of bags times the mulch cost, and that's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to accumulate those totals. I'm going to accumulate that to a subtotal, the overall cost. And finally, I'm going to display. That's pretty much the simplicity of it. Validate it, multiply the bags times the cost of the mulch, and then accumulate that total to an overall subtotal as we're accumulating based upon every add that we would do. And then finally display. The total button, on the other hand, then, would be basically when I click that, I'm going to calculate the tax, I'm going to calculate the delivery costs if they're already, and I'm going to calculate the total order cost, the overall cost. And then finally, I will display this. So the answer to this problem is you should have had two structure charts. It basically showed you how you were going to break this down into your code. Once again, every box here should really represent a procedure or function within your code, correct? Makes sense? These structure charts are available to you to look at in the solution, and so I recommend you look at these and make sure you understand. Once you have these structure charts down, now the next part is to write the logic. What is the logic associated with doing this? Well, if I sit back and bring this up, let's see, right there under design. My design for add mulch, which was the first one, my inputs were mulch type and bags. We'll come back to local and string, local and data type here in a second. My outputs were the mulch type total, right? And my order subtotal. Again, I need to accumulate my order subtotal. With that said, I'm going to go get my mulch type in my bags, and if my mulch type is black chips, brown chips, or red chips, it's going to be bags times $7. All the other types of mulch, it's going to be $7.90. Finally, what I will do is I will basically accumulate my order subtotal will be equal to my order subtotal plus the mulch type total for each time I go through this process. That is the logic. That's it. Pretty simple, isn't it? Once again, I know I have students all the time that avoid trying to design. They just want to dive into the programs. My guess is you struggled if you did. And my guess is you probably took 10 times more time getting something done if you just would have taken the first steps in designing the program. Figure out what you're going to do and then write it. It's so much easier, people. Please try to do that. Please heed my warnings, my advice here. I've been on both sides. I'd rather not spend 10 hours on a program. I'd rather spend 2, and doing that requires you to design it first. Okay? My final total is pretty simple. I'm going to have my zip code, my delivery requested. So basically what I'm saying here is do we want to deliver it or are we going to pick it up? And then finally that order subtotal I'm going to bring down, right, from my input, from my other process to add to it. And so in this case here, my outputs are going to be my tax, my delivery costs, and my grand total, basically my order total. In this case here, my tax is pretty easy. My order subtotal, everything that I've accumulated so far, times 7%. My delivery cost is going to be based upon if I requested delivery, okay, and then based upon the zip codes that I had here. I kind of wrote this a little bit differently than probably what I could have, but my validation is going to take care of ensuring that you cannot deliver to a zip code that's not required, or that's not allowed. And so with that said, I could go ahead and write my conditional statement such as this, where zip code is 41142 is $10, 41022, and if it's not, it's the other zip code. Because I know I already validated this, I'm going to validate. I never put validation in my pseudocode, okay? It confuses it too much. Just deal with the process, not the validation. Finally, I add them all up, and that's the answer. Pretty simple, huh? And it pretty much is, okay? So this, for the most part, is the design. Take a look at this and make sure you understand it. In my next video, I'm going to take this design and apply it to the solution for this particular problem. Once again, I want you to examine this. If you got it 100% correct, which is great, then you're ready to move on. If you didn't, you need to examine it to determine where are you. Did you just get off on the wrong tangent, but you understand everything? Then we're good. Or is this content beyond you? And if it is, we need to talk. Okay? So I'll talk to you in the next video.